Part 77. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 761. Yes. The servant next to him received the order and responded respectfully. He was not surprised at all. It was obvious that he was usually the one giving medicine to Zhang Yuge. Zhang Yunhai nodded and said with a playful smile, Yuge, I've raised you for 2 years, it's almost time. With your current body, you will definitely give birth to an extremely talented offspring for my Zhang family, ha ha ha. It is rumored that the spiritual energy recovery will start from Jiangbei and radiate to the entire world. Now all forces and loose cultivators have gathered in Jiangbei. Zhang Yunhai murmured to himself, there are undercurrents surging in Jiangbei now, so it is not advisable to stay for a long time. After receiving this donation, it's time for the Zhang family to move. At that time, I will find a safe city and let you spread the branches and leaves of my Zhang family. I have lived for 405 years and still have no heirs. It's not that my abilities are defective, but that I despise those ordinary women. Even if I mate with them, most of the offspring will be trash. I, Zhang Yunhai, have never been weaker than anyone else in my life and have extraordinary talents. My descendants will never be ordinary. Zhang Yunhai narrowed his eyes slightly and smiled, it is better not to raise a useless offspring than to raise one. However, Yuge, you are extremely talented, which is really rare. In addition, I have taken care of your body, and the offspring you gave birth to will be better, it will definitely be the best in the past and the present. Thinking of this, Zhang Yunhai couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth slightly, as if he had imagined that his descendants would be geniuses. Congratulations to the head of the family, you are about to have a Kylin, the servants in the room smiled and flattered him. The seeds haven't been planted yet, so it's too early to tell. Zhang Yunhai smiled softly, and then said, the Su family and the Li family are 2 of the 4 major families in Jiangbei, and their assets must be astonishing. Since Miss Li's family and the eldest son of Su's family have come to donate money, naturally they can't let it go. It's worth going out to meet them in person. Zhang Yunhai continued, this time it depends on their sincerity. If they cannot satisfy me, the 2 of them will not be able to leave Jiangbei and let the Su family and Li family use money to redeem their people. Master, didn't you say before that you shouldn't make money too hastily to avoid attracting attention? Why did you do it today? Then was then, and the present is now. Zhang Yunhai said fearfully, the recovery of spiritual energy is about to begin, and Jiangbei will soon fall into chaos. If we do something big, we can leave quietly. It is said that Su Yang, a descendant of the Su family, has reached the nascent soul realm. He killed several foreign masters in Zhufeng Mountain a few days ago. There are also several cultivators in the nascent soul realm around Su Yang. I am no match. Zhang Yunhai said solemnly, not only that, experts from outside the region will definitely come to Jiangbei to hinder the recovery of spiritual energy. In short, Jiangbei is no longer under my control. Since I want to leave, there is no need to be cautious. Clear. The servant suddenly realized something, and seemed to have thought of something. His face looked a little ugly, and he hurriedly said, Master, you said that the descendant of the Su family is named Su Yang. The eldest son of the Su family, also named Su Yang, will you? Is it the same person? Ha ha. Zhang Yunhai couldn't help but laugh when he heard this, it's absolutely impossible. Even I have heard of the reputation of the eldest son as a playboy. And Su Yang, a descendant of the Su family, reached the foundation building realm half a year ago, and now the Yuanying who is even more terrifying must not be the same person. Then I'll be relieved. The servant breathed a sigh of relief. Well, you go ahead and prepare the medicine according to the prescription I gave you before. You must not stop taking Yuge's medicine. I'll go see them. After leaving a few words, Zhang Yunhai pushed the door open and quickly disappeared. At this moment, Zhang family villa, living room. Su Yang frowned slightly, his face gradually darkened, and there was a killing intent in his eyes. With Su Yang's consciousness, he could naturally hear the conversation between Zhang Yunhai and the servant upstairs. Original. Su Yang thought that Zhang Yunhai was really a good man who donated money to fight floods and build a school, and he had some admiration for him. But now Su Yang can see Zhang Yunhai's true face clearly. This girl is hypocritical. Even Zhang Yu's amnesia was caused by Zhang Yunhai's medication, which is really despicable. This old guy is not weak in strength. He has actually reached the peak of martial arts. Su Yang thought to himself, it seems that before the ancient martial arts revolution, he was the land martial god, and he was the best among the land martial gods. Only with a lot of accumulation can he have the opportunity to reach the peak of martial arts within half a year. The meaning behind his words is that he wants to use Zhang Yu to give birth to a child and give him an extremely talented offspring. Su Yang's eyes were cold and he said to himself, for this reason, he must die, not to mention that this bitch wants to target me and Fixuan, and is looking for death. Kill. At this moment, Su Yang's heart was filled with murderous intent. In his eyes, Zhang Yunhai was already a dead man. Young Master Su, what's wrong? Is there anything wrong? At this time, Zhang Magu, who was standing next to him, saw Su Yang's cold eyes and asked in a low voice. Well, you'll know soon. Su Yang nodded and did not tell Zhang Magu directly. Su Yang, ha ha ha, I can already master the storage ring skillfully. This thing is really magical. A small ring has hundreds of square meters of space inside, and can store many items. At this moment, Li Fixuan withdrew her mind, her eyes fell on Su Yang, and she said gratefully, Su Yang, thank you for giving me the ring. Honey, why are you so polite? What's yours is mine. The coldness on Su Yang's face disappeared in an instant, and he smiled softly and said, I'll just say thank you and see you later. That's it? Just repay me tonight. Get out of here, you're not serious. Concubine Li gave Su Yang a blank look, but her beautiful face turned slightly red. She naturally knew what Su Yang meant by repayment. Haha, Miss Li, Mr. Su, I was preparing for fundraising upstairs just now, so I missed you at this time. Zhang Yunhai came down from upstairs and greeted with a smile. Uncle Zhang. Li Fixuan stood up, smiled and said, Uge and I are good friends, so don't be too outspoken. Haha. Zhang Yunhai smiled, but the dull eyes were looking at Li Fixuan, with a greedy expression on his face, but it disappeared briefly. Master Zhang. At this time, Su Yang hugged his arms and said arrogantly, I'm not familiar with Zhang Yuj, so you'd better meet me outside. Our Su family is in Jiangbei. It's a pyramid-level family. You guys, the Zhang family is just a small family. When you see me, shouldn't you greet me respectfully? As he said that, Su Yang continued to sit on the sofa, crossing his legs and showing no intention of getting up. His posture was very high. As soon as these words came out, Zhang Yunhai's expression suddenly became unbearable, and the anger in his eyes became more and more intense. But he had been hypocritical for so long, so naturally he didn't show it. Su Yang, what are you talking about? Uncle Zhang is Uge's father, please be polite to him. Concubine Li Xian, who was next to her, didn't know why and whispered to Su Yang. I know, but what does it have to do with me? Su Yang showed an arrogant expression and continued, I am the eldest son of the Su family. When I came to such a small family, he didn't go out to greet me and made me wait for a few minutes. Why, does he look down on me or the Su family? Haha, young Master Su misunderstood. I didn't mean that. I was really busy just now. Raising donations is the top priority, as it is related to this year's flood relief. Zhang Yunhai still didn't explode and was about to explain. You shut up. But at this time, Su Yang suddenly became furious and said coldly, is fighting against floods more important than my arrival? Master Zhang, you are so neglectful of me. Believe it or not, if I call my dad, I can bankrupt your Zhang family and ruin your reputation in a matter of minutes, Su Yang threatened arrogantly, intending to force Zhang Yunhai to reveal his true colors. At this moment, Zhang Yunhai has already been furious in his heart. He is an ancient warrior at the peak of martial master. Not to mention the little Su family, he doesn't look down on even the big families in the provincial capital or even the famous mountains. The Su family is just a family in Jiangbei, and the strongest one is only at the Grand Master level. What's the point of provoking him? Damn it! This young Master Su deserves to die. There is a road to heaven but you don't take it, and there is no door to hell but you break in, ha ha ha. Zhang Yunhai sneered in his heart, now I am preparing to leave Jiangbei. I have no intention of keeping a low profile anymore. Su Yang, you are provoking me at this time. You do not know how to live or die. Su Yang, don't be rude to Uncle Zhang, don't forget the business why we are here. Just when Zhang Yunhai was about to take action, Li Feixuan glanced at Su Yang and said, if you do this again, I will never pay attention to you again. While speaking, Li Feixuan secretly gave Su Yang a wink. Although she didn't know what was going on, there was definitely something wrong. Li Feixuan knew Su Yang well, and she knew that Su Yang was not a playboy. Under normal circumstances, Su Yang would not be as arrogant and domineering as he is now. But since Su Yang did this, he must have his own reasons. Li Feixuan didn't know the reason. The reason she stopped Su Yang was because she planned to ask Zhang Yu's life experience first, so she winked at Su Yang. Su Yang could tell that his wife had noticed something was wrong, so he didn't say anything more, but followed his wife's pace, wanting to see how she would handle the matter. Uncle Zhang, Su Yang is like this. He has a bad temper and likes to show off. Concubine Li Xian smiled and smoothed things over and said, actually, his nature is not bad, so don't take it to heart. Ha ha. Hearing what Li Feixuan said, Zhang Yunhai put away the murderous intention in his heart, smiled and said, that's natural. How can I care about you kids when I'm old? By the way, Miss Li, why did you come here today? Zhang Yunhai asked with a smile. That's it, Uncle Zhang. Concubine Li Xian smiled and said, today outside, we met a man. He said that Uge was his biological sister, and he wanted to take Uge home to recognize his ancestor. Zhang Yunhai's eyes then fell on Zhang Magu, and he frowned and said, who are you? Of course I don't believe it. Uge is obviously Uncle Zhang's biological daughter. How could she be adopted? For a moment, Zhang Yunhai was in a dilemma, and finally said, Master Zhang, have you admitted the wrong person? Uncle Zhang, don't blame me for being nosy. It's better to figure out some things, otherwise it will spread and affect your reputation as a kind person. I have met the head of the Zhang family. I am Zhang Magu, from the Zhang family in Fenyang City. Zhang Magu didn't know that Zhang Yunhai was hypocritical, so he clasped his hands and greeted him respectfully. Now, someone from the Zhang family wants to take Zhang Yuj away, how could Zhang Yunhai agree? What does the head of the Zhang family mean? I can't even recognize my sister. However, the Zhang family has a strong background and is said to have a good relationship with the descendants of the Su family. One of the young men from the Zhang family even received a gift from the ancient martial arts revolution. The Zhang family in Fenyang City is famous in the ancient martial arts world and is one of the powerful ancient martial arts families. Zhang Yunhai has naturally heard about it. Zhang Magu did not deny it, but instead said, Master Zhang, I did not admit the wrong person. Your current daughter Zhang Yuj, whose original name is Zhang Qingshui, is my biological sister. Hearing this, Zhang Yunhai's expression suddenly changed and he asked, but is it the Zhang family who is good at drums and small drums? Li Fei, I want to take Uge away. If this matter gets too big, it will definitely end badly. Young Master Su, sister-in-law Xian, let's go. He never expected that the woman he picked up outside Kunlun Mountain 2 years ago would have such a background. Uncle Zhang, don't be angry, just listen to what I have to say. Zhang Magu didn't say too harsh words. After all, in his opinion, Zhang Yunhai was a kind man. The Zhang family in Fenyang City has existed for thousands of years and has an extremely deep foundation. Even he would not dare to provoke them rashly. Li Feixuan said in embarrassment, it's just that person who insisted that Uge was his biological sister. I had no choice but to bring him over and confront you, Uncle Zhang. But at this time, Zhang Yunhai stopped pretending, showed a cold smile, and said in a deep voice, I'm afraid, you won't be able to leave. But in the past 2 years, Zhang Yunhai spent a lot of resources to improve Zhang Yu's physical condition. Among the medicines he fed Zhang Yu every day, there were not only memory-suppressing medicines, but also various old medicines. Exactly. Having said this, Li Feixuan looked at Zhang Magu next to her and said with a smile, Uncle Zhang, he is that person. Please explain this matter clearly. Sister. Upon hearing this, Zhang Yunhai's face suddenly became solemn, and he said in a deep voice, who said that? I only have one daughter, Uge, and I have no other heirs. Who dares to pretend to be my son, Zhang Yunhai, is so brave. About 2 years ago, she was killed by gangsters. I thought she was dead, but I didn't expect to see her again in Jiangbei. There are people with similar looks in the world. My little girl Uge grew up beside me and she will never be your sister, Zhang Yunhai said. Today, I just came to say hello to you. I will take Zhang Yuj with me. I will thank you very much in the future. Fenyang City, Zhang family. Hearing these words, Zhang Yunhai's face became even more ugly and he fell into silence. It is no exaggeration to say that Zhang Yunhai, a casual cultivator, has accumulated resources for hundreds of years. Except for what he used, he spent almost all of them on Zhang Yuj, just to improve Zhang Yuj's physique. Giving birth to powerful offspring for him. Walk. Oh. Zhang Magu took the lead and said, thank you Zhang family master for your careful care these 2 years. When I return to Fenyang City, I will tell my grandfather the truth and repay him generously. Zhang Magu's face changed slightly, and he said calmly, I came here, intending to ask what happened 2 years ago, but I didn't expect you refused to tell me, and insisted that she was your daughter. In this case, I will not ask. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 762. Zhang Yunhai was originally a casual cultivator. He had hidden in Jiangbei for so many years in order to secretly make money to meet his cultivation needs. Nowadays, the revival of spiritual energy is imminent, and many strong people have gathered in Jiangbei, some of whom are even stronger than Zhang Yunhai. This was beyond Zhang Yunhai's control. In order to stay out of the matter, he had already made plans to leave Jiangbei. So, after careful consideration, Zhang Yunhai decided that he could not let anyone in the living room leave. Zhang Yunhai was naturally afraid of the Zhang family in Fenyang City. He didn't know Zhang Yu's identity at first, but now that he knew it, he had no choice but to kill him and silence him. Seeing Zhang Yunhai's sudden change of expression, Li Feixuan next to him was startled and hurriedly hid behind Su Yang. But then I thought, I am a martial arts master now, stronger than Su Yang, so there is no need to hide. Moreover, if something happened, he had to protect Su Yang, a novice, so Li Feixuan stood up again and stood in front of Su Yang. She also calmed down, met Zhang Yunhai's gaze, frowned, and asked, Uncle Zhang, what do you mean? I brought my friend here just to inquire about the situation. Judging from your appearance, do you not want us to leave? Fei Xian. Zhang Yunhai looked at Li Feixuan, smiled softly and said, I'm sorry, did I scare you? My uncle apologizes to you. Actually, Uncle doesn't want to fall out, but Fei Xian, this matter has caused quite a big fuss today. Zhang Yunhai showed a sneer, it would be detrimental to my uncle if I let you leave and spread the news. Li Feichuan said in a neither humble nor arrogant tone, Uncle, why do you say this? If you don't do anything wrong, don't be afraid of ghosts knocking on the door. Since Uge is your daughter, what are you afraid of? Is what my friend said true? Uge, you picked it up, and your true identity is indeed his sister Zhang Qingshui. The matter has come to this, and there is no need for me to hide it. After falling out, Zhang Yunhai no longer had any worries. He smiled and said, it is indeed as you said, I picked up Zhang Yuge near Kunlun Mountain 2 years ago. I remember very clearly. That time, I was making money in a city in the west and accidentally obtained a top-quality energy stone. As a result, the head of the Ximan family in Kunlun Mountain, Ximan Fenjiun, found out about it. Zhang Yunhai continued, Ximan Fenjiun issued an order to tell the world that I should go to Kunlun Mountain to meet him with the best energy stones. He is willing to pay a high price to buy my top energy stones. If I don't show up in Kunlun within 3 days, Mountain, there will be consequences at your own risk. This is Chi Kuakuo's threat, but Ximan Fenjiun has a reputation for being so ferocious that he even dared to occupy Master's Kunlun Mountains, and even instigated major ancient martial arts forces to destroy the Kunlun Su family. How could I dare to compete with him if he was so cruel? In addition, I was only in the middle stage of the land martial god at that time, and I was far from his opponent, so I had to give in. But fortunately, Ximan Fenjiun said he wanted to buy at a high price and not take it by force. I feel some comfort in my heart. Zhang Yunhai recalled while saying, so, I took the best energy stone to Kunlun Mountain. I didn't see Ximan Fenjiun at all when I arrived. I just saw a man calling himself Su King I at the foot of Kunlun Mountain. That man was cruel. Without saying a word, he forced me to hand over the best energy stone. When I didn't agree, he beat me seriously and almost killed me. Zhang Yunhai continued, I had no choice but to hand over the top-grade energy stone as he said, so I could save my life. However, as soon as Su King I left, Ximan Fenjiun came and asked about the whereabouts of the best energy stones. He also took out a large number of old medicines and wanted to replace them with me. I told the truth and said that the best energy stone had been robbed, but Ximan Fenjiun didn't believe it. He gave me a severe lesson and took away my storage ring. He said that I had given him hope in vain and the storage ring was regarded as compensation, that's half of all my savings, and it was just taken away in vain. Recalling this, Zhang Yunhai gritted his teeth and said, if I hadn't been careful and divided my savings into 2 storage rings before coming here, and only had one to carry with me, I'm afraid I would have gone bankrupt that time. At first I thought it was my fate, but slowly I realized that this was Ximan Fenjiun's conspiracy. Zhang Yunhai said fiercely, although I, Zhang Yunhai, am a casual cultivator, I can't swallow this breath. So, I hid outside the Kunlun Mountains and planned to find an opportunity to take revenge on the Ximan family. Ximan Fenjiun is so powerful that I can't afford to offend him, but I don't look down on his son and disciple. Zhang Yunhai said, however, I waited for a few days. Although I saw Ximan Fenjiun's 2 sons going out, they were protected by experts around them. If I took action rashly, there would definitely be movement, and I wouldn't be able to leave by then, so I endured it. As time went by, I stopped being angry. After all, the Ximan family is too powerful. There is no impermeable wall in the world. In the end, I chose to let the Ximan family go for the time being. Zhang Yunhai smiled softly and said, but who would have thought that just when I was about to leave, I suddenly ran into a seriously injured woman who stumbled out of Kunlun Mountain. This woman is what you call Zhang Qingshui. She was seriously injured at that time, but she was not fatal. Zhang Yunhai raised the corner of his mouth and continued, When I checked her injuries, I unexpectedly discovered that her cultivation talent is surprisingly rare. At that time, the revolution in ancient martial arts had not yet begun. To reach the peak of Tianzong at the age of more than 20 years old is really unbelievable. Such talent is probably rare in the entire ancient martial arts world. She is completely comparable to the level of geniuses like Wu Dane Wanjai and Fozawuji. The most important thing is that she is still a virgin woman. Zhang Yunhai showed a playful smile and continued, over the years, I have always had the idea of raising offspring, but I have not met a suitable woman to reproduce for me. The appearance of this woman made my eyes light up and my thoughts suddenly moved. So, I rescued her, took her away from Kunlun Mountain, and rushed to Jiangbei on a starry night, Zhang Yunhai said with a smile. Damn it! Hearing this, Zhang Magu said angrily, you bitch, you dare to take advantage of my sister. If I don't cut you into pieces, I won't call you my brother in vain. With that said, Zhang Magu carried the big animal skin drum and went up the mountain to confront Zhang Yunhai. Brother Mugu, don't worry. Your sister is not at a disadvantage now. She is still a virgin, and her physical condition has been greatly improved. She has a lot of old medicine power in her body, and her future achievements are limitless. Su Yang smiled and then said, listen to what he has to say first. I really want to know what method he used to suppress your sister's memory. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 763. Zhang Magu naturally obeyed Su Yang's words. No matter how angry he was at the moment, he still followed Su Yang's wishes. Ha ha. Seeing this, Zhang Yunhai's eyes fell on Zhang Magu and smiled softly, Master Zhang, do you really think that you are hiding your strength and I didn't notice it? At your age, it's really surprising that you can reach the late stage of martial lord. Zhang Yunhai smiled playfully, but it's a pity that you met me today, and the genius of the Zhang family will definitely die here. By the way, I suddenly remembered that there is a young man in the Zhang family who has a very good relationship with the descendants of the Su family. He received a place as a gift from the ancient martial arts revolution. He was baptized by the golden light and climbed to the top of the world in one step. Zhang Yunhai stared at Zhang Magu and asked as if to confirm, this person must be you. So what? Zhang Magu said coldly, no matter what happens today, you must die. Ha ha ha, unfortunately, we have the same idea, but you must be the one who dies. Zhang Yunhai sneered and said, I am quite interested in the gift of the ancient martial arts revolution. After killing you, I will study your body carefully to see if I can find the secret of the gift of golden light. Snort. Zhang Magu snorted coldly without any panic. Su Yang's deeds in Zhufeng Mountain have already spread, and Zhang Magu also knows about it. Therefore, with Su Yang around, Zhang Magu feels safe and naturally does not take Zhang Yunhai seriously. You bitch, stop talking nonsense and tell me honestly, what did you do to my sister? Why did she lose her memory and her strength? Zhang Magu asked. Well, considering that your death is approaching, it doesn't matter if I tell you. Zhang Yunhai smiled arrogantly and said, very few people know about my true identity. Actually, I am a pharmacist, superior to those doctors in the Medicine King Palace. I also joined the Medicine King Palace once, but the Medicine King Palace had too many rules and the way it acted was too upright. I didn't like it very much, so I voluntarily quit the Medicine King Palace. Speaking of his identity, Zhang Yunhai was very proud. Without the constraints of the Medicine King Palace, I can study various prescriptions unscrupulously, and suppressing memory is just one of them. When your sister Zhang Qingshui came to Jiangbei with me, she woke up the next day. I asked her about her identity, but she didn't tell me, and she didn't even tell me her name. She was very wary of me. Zhang Yunhai continued, After she recovered from her injuries, she gave me some reward and was about to leave. How could I let her go? I decisively caught her and forced her to obey me. But who would have thought that your sister was so hot-tempered that she even wanted to commit suicide? Fortunately, I found her in time and rescued her from hell. Jang Yun-hai smiled playfully and said, I can clearly see her hatred for me. This is definitely not going to work, so I used a secret medicine to suppress her memory and make her forget everything before. Then while she is confused, let the servant tell her new identity in her ear. Jang Yun-hai continued, originally, I planned that her new identity would be my wife, but unfortunately something went wrong. After she woke up, she called me daddy. Dad, let's be dad. Anyway, she has no ill intentions towards me. I can barely accept it. Jang Yun-hai continued, in the past 2 years, I need to strengthen her physique again and give her TNK Daibao every day, just so that she can give birth to exceptionally talented offspring for me. I gave her all the existing resources to enhance her physique. Now the time is almost up. After I deal with you, I can combine with her. Jang Yun-hai smiled softly and said, as for her strength, ha ha ha, my woman only needs to have the ability to give birth. Strength is not important. 2 years ago, I used Huagong powder to dissolve her qi. Now she is just an ordinary person. Mean. Zhang Magu's face was as heavy as water, and he gritted his teeth and said, aren't you afraid of retaliation from the Zhang family in Fenyang City if you do this? He he. Zhang Yunhai smiled and said, I didn't know her identity beforehand, so naturally I didn't think of it, otherwise I would have considered it carefully. After all, I don't like trouble. However, the matter has come to this. All my lifelong cultivation resources have been fed to your sister. I can only bite the bullet and continue to do it. Therefore, no one of the 3 of you can even think of leaving here alive. Zhang Yunhai said with cold eyes, okay, you can get on your way, one by one, starting with you first. As he spoke, Zhang Yunhai's eyes fell on Su Yang, and he said with a playful smile, Miss Li, with such a beautiful face, it is natural to save it until the end. Mr. Zhang is in the later stage of Wuzun. It will take a lot of effort to deal with him. As for you, young Master Su, he is nothing but trash, he should die early and be reincarnated. Hearing this, Li Feixuan's expression suddenly tightened, and she hurriedly protected Su Yang behind her, ready to take action at any time. But Zhang Magu didn't take it seriously, showing an expression of watching the fun. This Zhang Yunhai is really discerning. Among the 3 of them, he picked the most terrifying devil. Die. Zhang Yunhai stopped talking nonsense and rushed over suddenly, with true energy surging in his palms, obviously wanting to kill Su Yang directly. In Zhang Magu's mind, Su Yang was capable of killing many powerful people from outside the realm. The average strength of outsiders is at the peak of the nascent soul, comparable to the peak of the martial saint. Zhang Yunhai, on the other hand, is only at the martial master level and is definitely no match for Su Yang. Therefore, Zhang Magu was not worried at all and did not take action to fight for Su Yang. Li Feixuan was different. She felt that although Su Yang had some strength, the scene of being chased by Nalan Ziu at the master level was still vivid in her mind. She concluded that Su Yang could not defeat Zhang Yunhai, so she gritted her teeth and tried to save Su Yang. Honey, don't be afraid, I'm here. But at this time, Su Yang took hold of Li Feixuan's wrist and showed a gentle smile. But Li Feixuan was about to say something, but at this moment, Zhang Yunhai was approaching. At the critical moment, a handsome figure suddenly appeared out of thin air and stood in front of Su Yang. Boom! The man just raised his hand, and a terrifying force surged out, instantly blasting Zhang Yunhai away. Zhang Yunhai, who was at the peak of martial arts, was at the peak of the cultivation system. But facing the sudden appearance of the person, he had no power to fight back and his body hit the floor heavily. Puff. Zhang Yunhai spat out a mouthful of blood, stood up forcibly, looked closely, and suddenly panicked. He said in fear, it's you, Su King Ai, why are you here? Good. The person who suddenly appeared was Su King Ai. Su Yang could see that although his wife was at the peak of martial arts, she had no combat experience and could not defeat Zhang Yunhai. Zhang Magu is a little lower than Zhang Yunhai, but he should have a chance to kill Zhang Yunhai. It's just that it makes too much noise and is completely unnecessary. Su Yang didn't want to expose his strength in front of his wife, lest she be embarrassed. Plus, Su King Ai had blackmailed Zhang Yunhai before at the foot of Kunlun Mountain. It should be Zhang Yunhai's nightmare. Let him deal with Zhang Yunhai, and the effect was better. Therefore, Su Yang invited Su King Ai out of the Void Tower. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 764. Su King Ai had already reached the nascent soul realm with Su Yang's help. As for Zhang Yunhai, he was only at the peak of Wuzun, and he was competing against the peak of Danji. Naturally, he was no match for Su King Ai. As soon as Su King Ai appeared, she just waved her sleeves and knocked Zhang Yunhai away. Before coming out, Su Yang had already shared the situation outside with Su King Ai through his soul. Su King Ai naturally knew what happened. After knocking Zhang Yunhai away, she turned around and stood respectfully in front of Su Yang, cupped her fists and said, "Young master." Su Yang nodded and smiled softly, "I leave this person to you. Take him out and deal with it. Don't dirty my wife's eyes." "Yes." Su King Ai responded respectfully, turned her eyes to Zhang Yunhai, and sneered, "I remember you, pharmacist Zhang Yunhai, we met 2 years ago." Snort. Zhang Yunhai snorted coldly, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and said angrily, "Su King Ai, I have no enmity with you, why are you targeting me again and ruining my good deeds? Haha, you know what evil deeds you have done. If you hadn't considered that you are an ancient warrior on earth, my senior brother would have killed you many years ago." Su King Ai said coldly, "However, you still don't repent. Today, you have even offended the young master. I'm sorry, because today is the day of your death." "Young master." Zhang Yunhai paused, then suddenly realized, his eyes fell on Su Yang, and he said in horror, You are the descendant of the Su family, Su Yang. It's guaranteed to be genuine." Su Yang showed a smile. After hearing the confirmed answer, Zhang Yunhai instantly collapsed on the ground, his whole body was very weak, and his eyes were full of despair. Su Yang, a descendant of the Su family. If it were before, Zhang Yunhai wouldn't be too worried, but in the past 2 days, almost everyone in the ancient martial arts world knew about the deeds of the descendants of the Su family in Zhufeng Mountain. Even the masters from outside the realm at the peak of nascent soul fell into his hands. What could I do to compete? Only now did Zhang Yunhai realize how stupid he was to actually want to kill such a terrifying being as a descendant of the Su family. The other party looks like a waste, so he must be hiding his strength. He is really stupid. I never expected that Su Yang from Jiangbei is Su Yang, a descendant of the Su family. Zhang Yunhai was frightened and smiled bitterly and said, "If I knew your identity, I wouldn't dare to do such a ridiculous thing. It's too late to regret now. Zhang Yunhai, you have done many evil things since you set foot in ancient martial arts. You once even used medicine masters to suck the first blood of innocent girls. It is a heinous crime." Zhang Yunhai continued, "Fortunately, you restrained yourself later, so senior brother spared your life. 2 years ago, I also considered that your strength and medicine skills would be of great use to the ancient martial arts world, so I told you to teach you a lesson. Okay, I can't kill you. But it's different now. If you continue to do evil, the world can no longer tolerate you." Su King Ai's eyes were cold and murderous in his expression. "Young Master Su, Zhang Yunhai knew that he would not be able to escape, so he faced Su Yang, knelt on the ground, and begged, "Give me another chance. I promise to abandon evil and do good, and never do any evil again in the future. I will build more schools and engage in charity." "Shut up." When Su King Ai heard this, she said coldly, "Don't think I don't know. The purpose of building the middle school in the first place was to make it easier for you to obtain the first blood. What happened 20 years ago? Have you forgotten that the person who warned you that time was me?" Su King Ai said in a deep voice, "I wanted to kill you at that time, but senior brother asked me to take care of the overall situation. I have spared your life, and now you still want to live. Oh, it's you." Zhang Yunhai gritted his teeth, but then he relented and said in a hurry, "Since you warned me, I have never used first blood to improve my strength." "I know, otherwise you would have died long ago," Su King Ai said coldly. "Young Master Su." Seeing that Su King Ai was full of murderous intent towards him, Zhang Yunhai knew that begging Su King Ai was useless, so he looked at Su Yang again and begged, "Facts have proved that I can do good. Please give me one last chance." "Zhang Yunhai, you don't have to beg me anymore." Su Yang said coldly, "You don't do evil not because you are kind in your heart, but because you are afraid that Su King Ai will kill you. The last thing we should keep is people like you, because once you are given a chance, you will turn into a devil in an instant and harm the world." Su Yang waved his hand and ordered, "Su King Ai, take him down. I don't want to see him again." "Yes." Su King Ai clasped her fists in response, then strode towards Zhang Yunhai with a sinister look on her face. Seeing this, Zhang Yunhai knew that begging for mercy was useless and did not dare to attack, so he used all his strength and hurriedly ran out of the living room. "Can you run away?" Su King Ai showed a sneer, her figure flashed, and she chased after him. In this way, only Su Yang, Li Feiquan, and Zhang Magu were left in the living room. Zhang Magu was not surprised at all, because he had met Su King Ai before and knew the relationship between Su King Ai and Su Yang. The last time he came to Jiangbei, the person who wanted to take him to Kunlun Mountain was Su King Ai. But Li Feiquan was extremely surprised and stood there blankly, unable to calm down for a long time. Su Yang. After reacting, Li Feiquan looked at Su Yang and asked, "Who was that person just now? He's so awesome." "His name is Su King Ai, my subordinate." Su Yang smiled softly. "Such a strong person is actually your subordinate?" Li Feiquan was extremely shocked, and asked curiously, "How did he appear here? I didn't even notice it." "Oh." Su Yang explained, "I keep him in the storage ring." "You forgot, my storage ring can store living things. I came back from Kunlun Mountain this time. I was afraid of running into trouble, so I took him with me in case of emergency. The situation was urgent just now, so I asked you to come out and solve it." "Wife, you are just an ordinary person. You can't find it normal." Su Yang smiled. "Yeah." Li Feiquan still wanted to be in front of Su Yang, so she nodded hurriedly, and then asked doubtfully, "Su Yang, Zhang Yunhai said that you are a descendant of the Su family. What does it mean? Are the descendants of the Su family famous?" "That's right. My great-grandfather Suwuji was very powerful. He was once the strongest person in the world and crushed an era." Su Yang said, "I am his descendant, so people in the ancient martial arts world are called I am a descendant of the Su family." "I see." Li Feiquan was like a curious baby, and then asked, "Grandpa is so strong, why have I never seen him, nor have I heard Uncle Su and Grandpa Su mention him? My great-grandfather disappeared a long time ago. He had many enemies. Our family was afraid of being retaliated, so we came to this small place in Jiangbei to remain anonymous." "That's it?" Li Feiquan nodded, and then asked, "Su Yang, what state are you in now? Can you compare with Tianzong?" Half a year ago, Su Yang was chased and beaten by people in the Master Realm. Now that Li Feixuan asked this, she felt that she was exaggerating. How could Su Yang make such rapid progress in half a year? Tianzong. Zhang Magu next to him couldn't help but want to laugh when he heard this. Tianzong was nothing in front of young Master Su. He could solve a large area with just one breath. But Zhang Magu knew that young Master Su didn't want to reveal his strength, so he didn't say anything. Almost, a little better than Tianzong, Su Yang said with a smile. Cut. He's only a little stronger than Tianzong, and Genkai will definitely not be able to beat me. Li Feixuan curled her lips, feeling very satisfied, but on the surface she said with admiration, "Wow, Su Yang, you are so awesome, you are so strong." "Wife, it's just acting, is it so exaggerated?" Su Yang was speechless for a while, then he smiled softly and said, "Don't worry, wife, no one will dare to provoke you when I'm here in the future." Li Feixuan nodded obediently, but couldn't help but feel happy in her heart. "You are a novice and you are still protecting me. If you are in danger, you should just hide behind me, ha ha ha." Li Feixuan was particularly satisfied when she thought of Su Yang hiding behind her fearfully, facing a powerful enemy by herself, and she couldn't help but raise a silly smile on her lips. "Wife, what's wrong with you?" at this time, Su Yang asked with a smile. "No, nothing." Li Feixuan's Ionio lay in Su Yang's arms, and said calmly, "I just thought that you are so powerful, and I felt so happy that I couldn't help but want to laugh." "That's it?" Su Yang naturally guessed why his wife was laughing. She was just secretly proud and felt that she was very strong. But Su Yang thought it was fun, so he never exposed Li Feixuan. Soon, Su King Ai came over from outside and said respectfully, "Young master, it's settled. This is Zhang Yunhai's storage ring." With that said, Su King Ai handed the storage ring to Su Yang. "Give it to Brother Magu." In this matter, Zhang Yuj, no, it should be said to be Zhang Qingshui. She is the victim. Zhang Yunhai's storage ring will naturally be given to the Zhang family. It can be regarded as a small amount of compensation. Su Yang looked at Zhang Magu and smiled softly, "Brother Magu, please accept it." "No no no." Zhang Magu waved his hands hastily and refused, "Young Master Su, it was you who solved Zhang Yunhai's matter. Today's matter is also thanks to you. Otherwise, Zhang Yunhai and I would have had a fierce battle, and we don't know who will win. You helped me easily deal with Zhang Yunhai. I can't thank you enough." "I absolutely cannot want this storage ring," Zhang Magu said seriously. "Brother Mugu, why are you being polite to me? You know that I have killed several foreign masters and have no shortage of training resources." Su Yang said, "Besides, the storage ring is not given to you. It is just for you to keep first and give to your sister Zhang Qingshui in the future. She is the victim and deserves compensation." This. Zhang Magu hesitated for a few seconds, and then said, "Okay, young Master Su, I won't refuse. I will remember this kindness from the Zhang family. If necessary in the future, the Zhang family will go all out." When Su Yang heard this, he smiled and said, "Looking at what you said, without what happened today, just based on our relationship, wouldn't I be able to invite the Zhang family?" "Haha, please move, please move." Zhang Magu knew that Su Yang was joking with him, so he nodded and put away the storage ring. Immediately afterwards, Zhang Magu thought of his sister and said, "Young Master Su, it's getting late. I want to take my sister back to Fenyang City as soon as possible to find a way to restore her memory and strength. Is there any famous doctor in this field in Fenyang City, or does your Zhang family have a method?" Su Yang asked. "No." Zhang Magu shook his head and said with a wry smile, "We can only try our luck. My ancestor has lived for 400 to 500 years and is well informed. Maybe there is a way. Perhaps." When Su Yang heard this, he smiled softly and said, "Then don't rush back to Fenyang City. follow me back to the Su family manor. I am absolutely sure that I can cure Jiang Qing 100% and increase her strength to a terrifying height. You only need to wait a few hours. Su Yang continued, when your sister recovers, you can take her out of Jiangbei and return to Zhang's house to reunite with her family. Really, this is great. Zhang Migu was extremely excited and believed Su Yang's words. He hurriedly said, this will trouble young Master Su. Why are you being polite to me? Don't forget, we are good brothers. Back in Wudang Mountain, you knew that you would have no way to survive if you blocked Nangong Yin, but you still stood up with young Master Wang. Their friendship is life-threatening. Now you and did I say thank you? Su Yang pretended to be angry and said, if you are so polite to me again, I will dig a hole and bury you. Young Master Su. Zhang Migu was very moved when he heard this and didn't know what to say for a while. Nowadays, Su Yang has a noble status and high strength. The battle at Jufeng Mountain established his transcendent status. As for Zhang Migu, the gap between him and Su Yang was too big. But Su Yang didn't dislike him at all. He still regarded him as brothers and didn't make any gestures. This made Zhang Migu very touched and felt flattered. Okay, stop being so long and come with me. Su Yang smiled, and then said, Fixuan, you can come too. After Zhang Qingshui's matter is settled, I will take you to eat hot pot together. Yeah, I haven't eaten hot pot from that restaurant for a long time, and I really want to eat it, concubine Li Xian said with a smile. Su Qing'ai. At this moment, Su Yang's eyes fell on Su Qing'ai, and then said, are you going to continue practicing inside, or are you going to the city to eat and relax? Young master, the recovery of spiritual energy is about to begin. I don't have the time to wander around. I'd better continue practicing, Su Qing'ai said with a wry smile. All right. Su Yang nodded, and then said, however, Su Qing'ai, cultivation is not achieved overnight. It needs to be accumulated slowly and cannot be rushed. I understand, Su Qing'ai responded respectfully with her fists clasped. Su Yang nodded, and with a thought, he took Su Qing'ai into the void tower and set aside a special space for him to practice. Li Fixuan next to her dismissed Su Yang's words. Cut. Who says cultivation can't be achieved overnight? I don't know, but I reached heaven in one step. Su Yang, wait until you are shocked by me. I hope that when I eat hot pot tonight, I can meet some bad guys and let me, the little fairy from Jiangbei, show off my power. After feeling refreshed, Li Fixuan suddenly thought of something and asked curiously, Su Yang, what is spiritual energy recovery? Is it dangerous? Honey, it's better that you don't know about this matter. Leave it to me to solve it. Su Yang smiled softly and said, let's go back to the Su family manor. As for here, wait until I contact someone and let him deal with the aftermath. With that said, Su Yang made a phone call. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 765. Half a year ago, when Su Yang was in Jiangbei, he recruited many subordinates, such as the miracle doctor Hua Shimiao and the head of the Dong family, Dong Wenzheng, but they had almost no contact in the past 6 months. Zhang Yunhai is quite famous in Jiangbei. Although he is hypocritical, he is still considered an influential person. Nowadays, Su Yang solved Zhang Yunhai, and some aftermath work must be done well. However, Hua Shimiao was a doctor, and he was good at treating illnesses and rescuing people, but he was obviously not good at dealing with this kind of thing, so Su Yang contacted Dong Wenzheng, the head of the Dong family. Master, Master. On the other side of the phone, Dong Wenzheng was extremely excited, his breathing became rapid, and he said respectfully, I have heard about your deeds in Jufeng Mountain, but I didn't expect that in just half a year, you have already reached the nascent soul realm, and you have already reached the nascent soul realm. I killed several foreign masters, congratulations to the master. Dong Wenzheng is the head of the Dong family. Although he is not a popular person, he is also very concerned about the affairs of the ancient martial arts world. And all the things that happened in Suyang caused a sensation all over the world. It is estimated that only people like Li Feixuan who don't go out often know about it. Oh, the news spread so fast, even you know it. Suyang smiled softly. That's natural. Dong Wenzheng said proudly, Master, you don't know that your deeds are being discussed in the 9 black markets now. You have been regarded as the leader of ancient martial arts and cultivation. Haha, it's just a false name. Suyang smiled and shook his head, then said, I'm calling you this time to arrange something for you. Master, please tell me, my subordinates will do their best, Dong Wenzheng said excitedly. Suyang is now a famous figure in the world. It is an honor for him to follow such a master. Many people struggle to get such an opportunity. You must perform well, try to do things beautifully, and win the favor of your master. It's very simple. Suyang smiled and said, you should know that the Zhang family advocates Yunhai. I know, I have met him a few times. He is a well-known philanthropist in Jiangbei. He was the president of the Jiangbei Charity Federation a few years ago. He is a good man, Dong Wenzheng said truthfully. I'm in the Zhang family now. Zhang Yunhai has been killed by me. You can come and deal with the aftermath, Suyang ordered. What? Dong Wenzheng was particularly shocked and said with a wry smile, Master, Zhang Yunhai has no background, but he has such a good reputation. What happened, you actually? Who told you he was a good person? Suyang interrupted, come over quickly and question the servants of the Zhang family. You will definitely have a new understanding of Zhang Yunhai. Also, I don't like to explain. Just do whatever I ask you to do, and don't ask questions. I won't do it again, Suyang said coldly, and then hung up the phone. Yes, this subordinate deserves to die. Dong Wenzheng was startled and spoke hurriedly, but found that Suyang had hung up. What a mouthful I have. Dong Wenzheng put away his mobile phone, patted his mouth, and said anxiously, come here, prepare a car and go to the Zhang family villa. The other side. Suyang put the mobile phone into the storage ring, and then said in a deep voice, come out, don't hide upstairs. As for Zhang Magu, because he cared about his sister, he stood outside Suyang's room, pacing back and forth, very anxious. Young man understands, Zhu Jin agreed hastily. Suyang continued, if I take action, she can become Zhang Qingshui again in 2 hours at most, and remember all the memories of being Zhang Yuj in the past 2 years. Memory is relatively easy to recover. Even if I don't take action, as long as I don't continue to take Zhang Yunhai's medicine, I should be able to recover my memory within half a month. Before practicing, she was still talking to herself in the room, saying she wanted to kill Suyang. Suyang interrupted coldly, you should know better than anyone the evil things Zhang Yunhai did. Someone will come to find you later. You should cooperate with him and make Zhang Yunhai's evil deeds public. If you do it well, I can consider sparing your life. Suyang nodded, and then left the Zhang family villa with Li Feixuan and Zhang Magu. Please rest assured, Mr. Su, I will fully cooperate with you. At this time, you took it off yourself. Not long after the 3 people left, Dong Wenzheng arrived in a hurry. Zhu Jin did not dare to neglect and cooperated with Dong Wenzheng throughout the process. After some questioning, Dong Wenzheng was shocked and couldn't believe his ears. After Zhang Yunhai's matter was handed over to Dong Wenzheng, Suyang stopped interfering. Suyang and his party had returned to the Su family manor. Li Feixuan found a room and said she wanted to take a rest, but in fact she went to practice. So best. Suyang stared at this person with a serious face and said coldly, I think you are the strongest person in the Zhang family besides Zhang Yunhai. You must have done a lot of evil things for Zhang Yunhai. What is your name? That girl Zhang Yuj, her mouth is so annoying. I hope your attitude towards me will improve after awakening Zhang Qingshui's memory. Zhang Yunhai, the biggest philanthropist in Jiangbei, has done so many evil things behind his back. It's incredible. After the words fell, the servant who had been talking to Li Fixuan outside the door walked downstairs tremblingly. The villain's name is Zhu Jin. He was really coerced by Zhang Yunhai. He taught me martial arts just so that I could do things for him. If this news spreads, I'm afraid it will explode not only in Jiangbei, but also across the country. It is inevitable that it will be trending. Okay, I don't want to hear your explanation. Su Yang said calmly, the person who is here to handle the affairs of the Zhang family is Dong Wenzheng, the head of the Dong family. You should stay with Dong Wenzheng afterwards. At this moment, Su Yang, on the other hand, released Zhang Qingshui from the storage ring in his room, preparing to help Zhang Qingshui regain his memory and strength. His strength is definitely not as good as yours, but you have to remember that I am always there. If I know that you have escaped or disobeyed Dong Wenzhen's orders, I will naturally find a way to find you. Even if you escape to the deep mountains and old forests, don't even think about it. And Shen, do you understand? Su Yang stood by the bed, looked at Zhang Qingshui lying on the bed, and showed a smile. Zhu Jin continued, I have a ledger in my hand, which contains the records of Zhang Yunhai's money-making in Jiangbei over the years. Also, Zhang Yunhai is a perverted person. When he collected the first blood, he left 20 G videos. I have saved them and can use them as evidence, Zhu Jin added. The servant fell to his knees on the ground and begged with a trembling voice, Master Su, all this was arranged by Zhang Yunhai. I was only coerced by him, so I did things for him. Please spare my life, Mr. Su. After saying that, Su Yang kneaded the secrets with both hands and began to restore Zhang Qingshui's memory. I've met Mr. Su. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 766. This process is relatively boring and requires the use of spiritual energy to clear away the drug residue in Zhang Qingshui's mind bit by bit. Because it involves spiritual consciousness, Su Yang does not dare to be careless at all, otherwise Zhang Qingshui will become a fool if he touches something he shouldn't touch. This is Su Yang, whose soul power is astonishing, so he can do this. Otherwise, even a cultivator in the realm of gods would be helpless. After it lasted for more than an hour, Su Yang stopped and breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, Zhang Qingshui suddenly sat up and slowly opened his eyes. His eyes no longer had the innocence and ignorance of the world as Zhang Yuj, but were replaced by a coldness. Who are you and why am I here? Tell me. Zhang Qingshui's eyes suddenly fell on Su Yang, and he questioned Su Yang with a serious face. But before Su Yang could answer, she suddenly took a breath of cold air, with a look of pain on her face, covering her head and looking like she was in pain. Ah! Zhang Qingshui couldn't help but let out a scream, and his eyes almost burst into tears. At this time, outside the door, when Zhang Magu heard his sister's cry, his expression suddenly changed and he was very worried. Elder sister. Zhang Magu wanted to push the door open, but when he thought of Su Yang's instructions, he stopped. Young Master Su said that you must not disturb him, otherwise my sister's life will be in danger. Anyway, as young Master Su is here, my sister will not be in danger. Even if I go in, it won't have any effect. Zhang Magu comforted himself by talking to himself, but in the room, Zhang Qingshui's voice became increasingly miserable. Bitch, don't come over here, come near me again, don't blame me for being rude. Ah, get away. Although I can't beat you, I can choose to die. If you come one step closer to me, I will die for you immediately. You, what medicine did you give me, despicable? I. Jiang Qingshui's voice reached Zhang Magu's ears, and Zhang Magu was stunned. Young Master Su, what is he doing? Is he forcing my sister? It shouldn't be, young Master Su is not that kind of person. Although he thought so in his heart, Zhang Magu felt more and more something was wrong. How could his sister suddenly say such things? Drugged? Could it be that young Master Su wanted to get my sister, but my sister didn't agree, so he... This is difficult to handle. Zhang Magu looked troubled and stood outside the door with an ugly expression, in a dilemma. Why? Finally, Zhang Magu sighed and said helplessly, young Master Su is very powerful and has powerful subordinates. I can't stop him from doing anything he wants to do. Even if he rushes in, it won't change the facts. On the contrary, it will be detrimental to the Zhang family to break up. Young Master Su, why are you so confused? If you want to be my brother-in-law, just say no. My sister has very feudal ideas and is very stubborn. She once told me that the other half in her mind must be a top strong man. Only in this way can he be worthy of her. She would rather be the wife of a strong man and rule the world with him than be the wife of an ordinary person and live an ordinary life. Zhang Magu said sadly, young Master Su, it would be great if you could just tell me directly. Why use such despicable means as drugging? How should I face you in the future? Hey. At the end, Zhang Magu sighed again, feeling a little disappointed in Su Yang. He never expected that young Master Su would get interested and do such a despicable thing to Zhang Qingshui. But Zhang Magu couldn't go in and interrupt. Firstly, he couldn't stop it, which was meaningless. Secondly, it would cause a stalemate, and I'm afraid the entire Zhang family would be implicated. After thinking about it, Zhang Magu gritted his teeth and had no choice but to leave, out of sight and out of mind. At this moment, in Su Yang's room, Zhang Qingshui covered his head and struggled on the bed, looking extremely painful. However, the pain gradually weakened, and before long, she calmed down and sat motionless on the bed. Is the memory almost integrated? At this time, Su Yang, standing beside the bed, showed a gentle smile. Good. With that said, Su Yang made a secret with both hands and pushed a ball of his own memories into Zhang Qingshui's mind. Su Yang smiled softly and said, this is the right way to look. Girls should behave like girls and don't speak harshly. Before your memory is fused, it would make me choke. Certainly. 10 strong men from outside the territory come to Earth. In the past 2 years, a lot has happened on the Earth. The cultivators of the 10 ancient races have been lifted from confinement and can enter and leave the city. Strong people from outside the world have also come to the Earth. The world has changed drastically. As for the drug, it refers to the memory-suppressing drug prepared by Zhang Yunhai for her. No. Su Yang shook his head, then smiled and said, my great-great-grandfather is Su Wuzi. You know the 10 ancient clans, and you must have heard the elders in the family mention Su Wuzi. Zhang Qingshui's eyes suddenly lit up and he said excitedly, I heard that you are a descendant of Senior Su Wuzi. Su Yang nodded, and then said, I don't like to explain in vain, so let's accept this memory and understand the Earth today. Zhang Qingshui felt a little embarrassed when he heard this and pulled his hair uncomfortably. After all, for thousands of years, the 10 ancient tribes have enslaved the ancient martial arts world and demanded resources unscrupulously. The Zhang family must not be spared, and Zhang Qingshui must hate the people of the ancient tribes. Fusion memory. 9 Peaks Mountain. Su Yang told the truth, I am different from you, I am a cultivator. After Zhang Qingshui digested the memory given by Su Yang, his beautiful face showed strong shock and murmured to himself, I didn't expect that so many great things have happened on the Earth in the past 2 years. It's a pity that I didn't catch up. Um. Then, she walked down from the bed and said gratefully, "Thank you Mr. Su for helping me. I have offended many people before. I hope Mr. Su will show his respect." 100 Sex Martial Arts Competition. These memories do not include cultivation and some secrets, but only record the major events that have happened on the earth in the past 2 years. Aura. Miss Jing Shui, you're welcome. Your brother Zhang Magu and I are friends. This is what I should do. Young Master Su, you're welcome. Zhang Qingshui's eyes fell on Su Yang, a pair of beautiful eyes shining with a strange color. It's better now, Miss Jing Shui, I still appreciate your appearance. The ancient martial arts revolution. Now that the fusion was successful, Zhang Qingshui remembered everything, and all the memories about Zhang Yuge were still vivid in his mind. Su Yang smiled and said, "From Brother Magu's point of view, I should also call you sister, Sister Qingshui. Are you from one of the top 10 ancient tribes?" Zhang Qingshui was immediately extremely fearful after hearing this. It was obvious that he had no good impression of the ancient tribes. At this moment, Zhang Qingshui nodded, his eyes fell on Su Yang, his expression was slightly complicated. Zhang Qingshui was a little flattered, then looked at Su Yang carefully, and asked curiously, "Mr. Su, I see that there is no real energy fluctuation in your body, but you just used a very special energy to clean up the drug residue in my mind. What kind of power is that?" Immediately afterwards, Suwuji. Zhang Qingshui was fusing his memories just now, dreaming back to the scene when he was threatened by Zhang Yunhai, so he said the previous words in pain. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 767. Through memory, Zhang Qingshui understood Su Yang's power. Started the transformation of ancient martial arts, arrived at Yuanying in half a year, and showed great power at the foot of Jufeng Mountain, giving the masters from outside the territory a powerful start. This kind of person can be said to be the best in the world. As a descendant of the Su family, he is comparable to Su Wazi more than 100 years ago. Unparalleled talent. Mr. Su must be called an unparalleled genius, and his merits will last through the ages. Zhang Qingshui comes from an ancient martial arts family and possesses extremely high martial arts talent. He is quite famous among the younger generation. Growing up, her idol was Suwuji, and she almost grew up listening to Suwuji's stories. Zhang Qingshui admired the great figures like Suwuji who dominated an era. She once swore that she would not marry anyone who was not an invincible strong man, even if she died alone, she would accept it. Nowadays, what Su Yang did was no worse than his great-grandfather Su Wazi, and even vaguely surpassed Su Wazi. At such a young age and in the realm of nascent soul, whether it is starting a revolution in ancient martial arts, changing the pattern of ancient martial arts, or killing foreign masters at the foot of Jufeng Mountain, any one of them is enough to be remembered for generations. Therefore, Zhang Qingshui felt ripples in his heart, and when he faced Su Yang again, his expression was a little uncomfortable. "What's wrong with you?" When Su Yang saw this, he asked, "Did something go wrong when the memories were fused just now?" "No, no." Zhang Qingshui hurriedly shook his head and said, "Master Su, I didn't expect that you have started the transformation of ancient martial arts and reached the realm after the land martial arts god. It is admirable. Haha, it's just that the time has come, it has nothing to do with me." Su Yang smiled softly. "Master Su, you are humble. What you have done is enough to make the ancient warriors of the earth regard you as a god." Zhang Qingshui smiled and said, "Now ancient warriors have the opportunity to break through the realm of land martial gods and reach higher realms. This is something I couldn't even imagine before. It's a pity that I..." When talking about cultivation matters, Zhang Qingshui's expression dimmed, and he sighed and said in frustration, "Hey, I used to be a martial arts prodigy, and before I was 30, I set foot in the realm of Tianzong. It's a pity that now, My cultivation has been abolished and I have become an ordinary person. Damn Zhang Yunhai, it's all his fault. If it weren't for him, I would have participated in the 100 sex martial arts competition. I also had the opportunity to accumulate a lot of accumulation after the ancient martial arts revolution. Now I can at least set foot on the land of martial god and advance to the realm of martial master. Possible. Zhang Qingshui gritted his teeth and said, Young Master Su, where is Zhang Yunhai? There is no picture of him in the memory you gave me. I want to kill him with my own hands to vent the hatred in my heart. He is dead. Su Yang said truthfully, this morning, your brother, I, and Fei Xian went to the Zhang family villa and have already dealt with him. You don't have to worry about him. It's easy for him. Zhang Qingshui said harshly, and then thanked him, thank you Mr. Su for killing my enemy. Sister Qingshui, don't be so polite, Su Yang smiled. Sister Qingshui. Hearing this title, Zhang Qingshui's heart skipped a beat, as if a deer was racing in his heart. Sister Qingshui. At this time, Su Yang said, you don't have to worry about your own strength. I have a way to help you recover and even reach a higher level. Really? Zhang Qingshui was excited when he heard this. Su Yang nodded and smiled, actually, you have not suffered a loss during the 2 years Zhang Yunhai has controlled you. On the contrary, you have made a lot of money. What do you mean? Zhang Qingshui said with confusion on his face. You have lost all your cultivation, so naturally you cannot notice the changes in your body. Su Yang smiled softly and said, this Zhang Yunhai's purpose of controlling you is to take a fancy to your talent and want you to give him an extremely talented offspring. But he didn't attack you immediately. Instead, he wanted to improve your physique so that you would have stronger qualifications and give birth to super strong offspring, so he put a lot of effort into you. Su Yang continued, Zhang Yunhai has lived for 300 to 400 years. Half of his accumulation over the years has been deceived, and the remaining half has been spent on you. The medicine he gives you every day, in addition to suppressing your memory, also contains the essence of old medicine, which has many benefits for the body. Su Yang continued, over the past 2 years, you have accumulated a lot of energy in your body, all of which has been integrated into your bone marrow, flesh, and blood. As long as you use it properly, this energy can become a resource for your breakthrough. I made a rough estimate. If you use all that energy, you can at least reach the middle stage of martial lord, Su Yang said seriously. Martial master middle stage. Zhang Qingshui was overjoyed when he heard this. She was originally a proud daughter of heaven and had never been weaker than anyone in her life. Now she was reduced to an ordinary person. This made her feel even more uncomfortable than killing her. Now that Su Yang said that she could re-enter the path of ancient martial arts and advance to the middle stage of martial arts, Zhang Qingshui was naturally more excited. Sister Qingshui. Su Yang smiled softly and said, I happen to have time now. If you are willing, I can help you. Okay, I am willing, Mr. Su, please excuse me. Zhang Qingshui nodded hastily and looked at Su Yang with a strange look in his eyes. I will keep this kindness in my heart. From now on, I will be yours. I will do whatever you ask me to do. Sister Qingshui, I have no shortage of subordinates. Ha ha ha, you don't have to be so polite. Come on, I will help you return to ancient martial arts. Just lie down on the bed. Su Yang smiled, and then started to condense the spiritual energy with his hands. Subordinate. Did I say I would be your subordinate? You elm-brained man, can't you even understand such words? Zhang Qingshui glanced at Su Yang secretly, and then lay down on the bed as Su Yang said. Next. Su Yang began to restore Zhang Qingshui's strength and help her refine the energy in her body. At this moment, outside the room. After Zhang Magu left, the more he thought about it, the more something was wrong, and he felt very aggrieved. My sister is being bullied, and as a biological brother, I obviously hit her, but I didn't dare to stop her. This is so cowardly. Therefore, after Jang Magu thought about it again and again, he finally gritted his teeth and appeared outside the room again. Unexpectedly, as soon as he arrived here, he heard Su Yang's voice coming from inside. Just lie down on the bed. Lie down? Who does Mr. Su ask to lie down? My sister? Young Master Su's tone seemed very gentle. Could it be that he has already conquered my sister? What was my sister going to do just now? Why did young Master Su tell my sister to lie down on the bed? Could it be that the two of them have reached the point where they let themselves go and my sister is willing to cooperate with Su Yang? She was just about to change positions when Su Yang stopped her and asked her to continue lying down? The possibility is very high. Thinking of this, Jang Magu once again fell into hesitation and was in a dilemma, wondering whether he should go in or not. My sister has stopped screaming, and it seems that the two of them are getting along quite well. If I go there at this time, wouldn't I be a bad person and do good deeds? With my sister's temper, I still have to beat myself up. Hey, forget it. After much deliberation, Jang Magu finally did not go in, but hid outside, waiting for young Master Su and his sister to come out. If his sister was still being bullied by young Master Su, Jang Magu had already thought about it and had to rush in to stop her. But the current situation is different from what he thought, so he better stop meddling. After all, my sister has lived so long and has never experienced this kind of feeling. Let her and young Master Su experience it. Actually, young Master Su is not bad as my brother-in-law. His talent and strength are first class in all aspects, but he is a little sentimental. Qian Shangxiu, the leader of Jufeng Mountain, and Lan Miaoi of Chunguang Tower, even participated in the martial arts competition of the 100 Sex Association. They can even flirt with Zhao Zhiruo from Mount Imei. Jang Magu thought to himself, however, this is normal. Men are not bad, but women do not love them. Only capable men are liked by so many women. My sister advocates strong men and is destined to take this step. Following young Master Su is perfect. Hey, now, even my sister is about to get married. When will I become a real man? Jang Magu suddenly thought of himself and couldn't help but sigh. He was determined to find a girlfriend and have a vigorous love relationship if he had a chance. Time flies. Before we knew it, night fell. In the room, Su Yang stopped and finally succeeded. At this time, Zhang Qingshui had changed his posture and was sitting cross-legged on the bed, surrounded by true energy. Puff. Next moment, Zhang Qingshui suddenly spurted out a mouthful of blood, staining the sheets red, but Su Yang stood there without panicking. Obviously everything was as expected. Then, about 2 minutes later, Zhang Qingshui slowly opened his eyes, wiped the blood stains from the corners of his mouth, and walked off the bed. When you spit out this mouthful of turbid blood, you will truly succeed. Su Yang's eyes fell on Zhang Qingshui, and he smiled softly. Sister Qingshui, you surprised me a bit. I thought that you would be doing very well if you entered the middle stage of Wuzun today. I didn't expect that you would surpass the late stage and directly advance to the peak of Wuzun. Su Yang continued, judging from your current situation, I'm afraid it's just around the corner to reach the realm of martial saint. Not bad, not bad. This kind of talent is really good. No wonder Zhang Yunhai has invested so much money in you. The descendants you will give birth to in the future will definitely be a generation of geniuses, Su Yang added. Mr. Su, you've received the award. Zhang Qingshui said with a grateful face, all of this depends on Mr. Su. If there was no Mr. Su, I'm afraid. Haha, Sister Qingshui, there is indeed someone you need to thank. Su Yang smiled and said, the energy in your body was accumulated by Zhang Yunhai for you bit by bit. You should thank him. Unfortunately, he is dead, but it doesn't matter. You can burn paper for him. Poor Zhang Yunhai, after working hard for 2 years, he ended up making wedding dresses for others, like a fool. Zhang Qingshui couldn't help but laugh when he heard this. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, Zhang Magu heard someone talking inside, so he knocked on the door and asked if he could enter. Brother Mugu, you can come in, Su Yang said. Immediately afterwards, Zhang Magu pushed the door open and walked in. He greeted Su Yang first, then turned his eyes to Zhang Qingshui. He almost burst into tears with excitement. Sister, I have thought of you in the past 2 years. Blood. Zhang Qingshui's face turned red and she said angrily, Master Su and I are innocent and have done nothing. Try saying something random again. After all, the siblings haven't seen each other for 2 years, so they should have a lot to say. At this time, Zhang Magu seemed to have discovered a new world. He pointed at the blood-stained sheets and asked, Blood, is that your blood? Young Master Su, don't leave. You just want to default on your debt after eating everything. This is not okay. My sister. Zhang Magu said in a preaching tone, you should be more reserved. Why would you sacrifice yourself so quickly? Sister, I am so excited, Zhang Magu choked up and said while wiping his tears. When Zhang Qingshui heard these words, his face immediately turned red, and he could no longer maintain his serious expression. In just a moment, he became like a shy girl. Only by controlling your emotions can you achieve great things. Look at Mr. Su. He keeps his expression unchanged despite the collapse of Mount Tai. This is a real character. There was blood on the bed. Sister, after all, I am also your biological brother. You can't forget your brother when you have a man, Zhang Magu muttered. Okay, now your sister has recovered her memory and has set foot in ancient martial arts. She is doing well in all aspects. You two can chat slowly, and I won't disturb you siblings for whispering. Elder sister. Zhang Magu was about to call Su Yang, but Zhang Qingshui next to him gritted his teeth and said, Zhang Magu, what happened to you today? What nonsense did you say? Damn it. It's just that, my sister, you are too unrestrained. We have only known each other for a long time, and yet you handed yourself over to young Master Su for the first time without any reason. I feel unworthy for you. Yes, but... Sister, look what's on the sheets. Suddenly, Zhang Magu discovered blood stains on the sheets, and immediately confirmed his guess. After leaving a few words, Su Yang turned around and walked out of the room, leaving this place to Zhang Magu and Zhang Qingshui. Zhang Qingshui acted like a big sister and scolded her coldly, how many times have I told you that in the future you will take over the Zhang family and be the head of the Zhang family in Fenyang City? You must calm down when encountering problems. You are already in your 20s. You are still acting like a child, you are really a loser to the Zhang family. Why cry? Oh, I almost forgot. You didn't do it voluntarily in the first place. It was young Master Su who forced you to do it. Oh, what a crime. Seeing this, Su Yang hurriedly said, Brother Mugu, what are you talking nonsense about? Stop joking with your sister. Zhang Magu said bluntly, there are no outsiders in this room, so let's not beat around the bush. Don't think that I don't know what you and Su Yang did in the room just now. He did that to you. You must be right, you are responsible. After listening to Zhang Magu's words, Zhang Qingshui suddenly had a black line in his head and was ashamed at the same time. He gritted his teeth and stared at his brother. Zhang Qingshui wanted to explain, but at this time, Zhang Magu said, it's nothing, it's just your blood. You and Su Yang stayed in the room for a long time, and there was blood on the sheets. This is already very bad, it's obvious, do I need to say more? As soon as Zhang Qingshui reunited with his younger brother, he began to suppress his education. He said coldly, I see, compared with Mr. Su, you are still far behind. You can't even compare with one of his fingers. Jong Magu was stunned for a moment. Could it be that he had made a mistake and everything was just his own guess? Nothing happened. Zhang Qing. You, shut up. Ahem. You, what did you say? Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 768. Dedicate yourself? Force. It does not make sense. Zhang Magu. Zhang Qing was not polite and grabbed his younger brother's ears. He blushed and said angrily, "What are you talking about? Young Master Su and I are innocent. You stinky boy can't spit out ivory from a dog's mouth. I haven't communicated with you for 2 years, when did you become so dirty? It hurts, it hurts." Zhang Magu hurriedly begged for mercy, "Sister, I was wrong. I won't say anything anymore. Please forgive me." Snort. Zhang Qing then let go, gritted his teeth and said, "If you dare to talk nonsense again, see how I deal with you." "Okay, sister, I promise not to talk nonsense." Zhang Magu covered his ears and ran to the door, but then he became arrogant and muttered, "Sister, you know what you have done. If you don't let anyone tell you what you have done, it is too overbearing, got it?" "You." Zhang Qing pointed at Zhang Magu, gritted his teeth and said, "What did I do? In the room before, did you yell and say not to come over, and also asked what kind of medicine Mr. Su gave you?" Zhang Magu said, "Isn't it obvious? Young Master Su wants to forcefully have sex with you, but you resist to no avail, and then scream in pain. I was outside the room at the time. It's my fault that I was too cowardly and thought more about it. I didn't want to offend young Master Su or worry about bringing down our Zhang family." Zhang Magu continued, "So I avoided it, but later on, the more I thought about it, the more something was wrong. I was being bullied. How could I stand by and watch? So I turned back, but as soon as I arrived outside the room and was about to break in the door, I heard young Master Su speaking. He told you to just lie on the bed." Zhang Magu continued, "This is also obvious. You should have been conquered by young Master Su and started to actively cooperate with young Master Su. Young Master Su insisted on following his own rhythm and posture, so he asked you to continue lying down. Don't disrupt his offensive rhythm. Originally these were just my guesses, but when I saw the blood on the bed, I was sure." Zhang Magu said arrogantly, "I must have guessed it right. You are as smart as me. What can you hide from me? You. You. You." When Zhang Qing heard these words, his lips changed color in anger, and he gritted his teeth and said, "It's a bunch of nonsense, not on the same channel at all. The reason why I screamed was because of the fused memory. Those words were not said to young Master Su, but I remembered the scene of Zhang Yunhai using medicine on me before, so I said those words. Young Master Su asked me to lie on the bed, which is completely different from what you said. He just wanted to restore my strength, not do that kind of thing." Zhang Qing explained, "As for the blood stains, that is the turbid blood in my body, spit out from my mouth, not what you think." "For it." Zhang Magu was stunned when he heard this. This explanation was so reasonable that I couldn't find a flaw to refute it. So careless. Right. Mr. Su is a trustworthy person. He knows Zhang Qing is my sister, so how could he use coercion? It seems that I am overthinking it. It's all Brother Fugui's fault. Why would you recommend Pepixia to me? Since I started using this software, I am no longer me. Zhang Magu, you brat, how dare you slander your sister like this? Look how I deal with you today, Zhang Qing said fiercely. Ahem. Fuck. Zhang Qing showed a sneer, then strode forward, crackling and hitting Zhang Magu. But things are different now. I accepted the gift of the ancient martial arts revolution and stepped into the early stage of martial arts. Now half a year has passed, and with my own efforts, I have advanced to a small realm. As Zhang Magu was talking, Zhang Qingshui released his aura. Zhang Magu reacted and said quickly, "Sister, I admit that I overthought and misunderstood you and young Master Su. I apologize to you." Zhang Magu knew his sister's level and was no match for him at all, so he didn't dare to fight back, so he could only hold his head and take the beating passively. "That's it." After apologizing. "Buzz." Zhang Qingshui said with a dark face, "Why, do you think I'm kidding you?" Zhang Magu said confidently, "Don't brag, I can slap you away with one palm of my hand. In the past, when I made mistakes, my sister would always beat me up, but that was because my level was low and I couldn't beat my sister." In an instant, the majestic Genkai swept through the entire room, making people feel palpitating. Thinking of this, Zhang Magu suddenly became arrogant. He stood there with his head held high and said arrogantly, "Sister, are you sure you want to hit me?" "No, you said it wrong." Zhang Magu stood with his hands behind his back and said in a pretentious manner, "Sister, don't blame me for not reminding you. It's just that because you are my sister, I will give you a chance to make a new choice. If you don't mention hitting me again." Zhang Qingming said calmly, "If I haven't loved you for 2 years, you may have forgotten how I loved you before." "Zhang Magu, what did you just say? Can you slap me away with one palm?" Zhang Qingshui walked towards Zhang Magu with terrifying pressure and asked with a frown. But then, Zhang Magu suddenly thought of a question. Zhang Magu wiped his nosebleed and showed a forced smile. His hair was messy, and he could tell at a glance that he had been hit by a blaster. "You are my sister, my real sister, how could I do something to you? If you spank my left butt, I will raise my right butt and let you spank me again." Zhang Magu was instantly frightened, his face changed drastically, and he revealed a forced smile, "Ahem, dear sister, I was joking with you." Zhang Magu was startled, and he shuddered when he recalled the scenes of being taught by his sister in the past. And sister, even if her strength is restored to its original state, she is just a member of the Tianzone, just a piece of cake. "Hey, thank you sister, the beating didn't hurt at all." Zhang Magu said with a flattering smile, "We, brother and sister, are so good, and you are willing to beat me up, right, dear sister?" Zhang Qingshui glanced at him, and then said curiously, "Zhang Magu, what have you experienced in the past 2 years? Why has your personality changed so much?" After fighting for a while, Zhang Qingshui stopped and said calmly, "I'm just giving you a small lesson this time, I won't do it next time." Zhang Magu instantly noticed his sister's state and said in shock, "At least she is at the peak of martial lord. This is impossible. Why did my sister suddenly become so powerful? Wu Zunpeak. I remember that you were calm, unsmiling, and honest before. Why do you talk so much nonsense now and are you so lazy? Hee. Nowadays, I am very strong. I'm afraid you are no match for me." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 769. There's nothing you can do about it. Those who are close to vermilion are red, and those who are close to ink are black. If you spend a long time with Brother Fugui, you will inevitably become wealthy. Zhang Magu had Du Ming in his heart, but on the surface he smiled and said, "Hey, sister, do people always change? Isn't my character bad? It's okay, let's do it. I still like the honest way you used to be." Zhang Qingshui commented seriously, "However, girls should be attracted by this mean look. You are not young anymore. Hurry up and fool me with a younger sibling. You can carry on the family lineage for the Zhang family and fulfill my grandpa's wish. Sister, don't worry, I will work hard. Recently, I met a female shrimp at Pippi Shrimp. We got along very well and are preparing to start dating online, Jongmagu said with a smile. Pippi Shrimp, female shrimp. Zhang Qingshui frowned and said, "What are you talking about? You don't pursue good people, and now you are obsessed with shrimps. Do you want to have a love that spans races?" Female shrimp. I have lived so long. This is the first time I heard that shrimps can be separated into male and female. Can you tell me how you separated them? Zhang Qingshui deliberately teased his younger brother, so he continued, "Besides, a female is a female, and you still prick her skin. Doesn't that thing hurt people?" "Sister, what do you know?" Jongmagu said with a dark face, "Pipixia is a mobile phone software. Female shrimp refers to the female users of the software." "Okay, I'm too lazy to listen to this, as long as you can find a girlfriend who you like." Zhang Qingshui waved his hand impatiently, then looked at Jongmagu for a few times, and then said, "Jongmagu, you are a big boss, you are about to show up, and you don't know how to change your image. Look at what you look like. You are unkempt and bearded. You look like an old man in his 50s or 60s. Whose girl would like you?" Zhang Qingshui continued his repressive teaching, "Girls are looking for a boyfriend of the same age, not an old man. Haven't I been practicing in seclusion for a few months? I was just about to go to the city to get a haircut and buy clothes. Who knew I met you at the door of the supermarket?" Jongmagu didn't want to continue the topic about himself, so he hurriedly said, "Sister, don't just talk. Aren't you also single? You should find a partner." Object. When this topic was brought up, Zhang Qingshui couldn't help but think of Su Yang, and his face turned slightly red. "In the whole world, only the most powerful men like Mr. Su are qualified to be my other half, right? Sister, why are you blushing? Do you already have someone you like?" Jongmagu saw some clues. "You don't need to worry about my affairs, I know it well." Zhang Qingshui came back to his senses and said calmly, "We are siblings, your business is my business." Jongmagu smiled and said, "Let me guess, sister, who this person could be. Before your accident, there was no one you liked, even if they were Buddha Ziiwaji or Wudane Wangye, you looked down on them. Now that you have recovered your memory, there should be only two people who enter your world who can impress you deeply." Jongmagu thought seriously for a moment, then showed a look of realization and said seriously, "I know, sister, you probably won't like it. Su Yang is a first-class young talent, unrivaled in the past and present. I like him." "Is there any problem?" Zhang Qingshui said without hesitation. "Are you stupid, or am I stupid?" Zhang Yunhai rambled for a while, then pretended to come to his senses and said in surprise, "Sister, what did you just say, that you don't like young Master Su?" "Zhang Yunhai? Jongmagu? What's going on? You mentioned him before I even mentioned him. Isn't it just self-inflicted? How is it impossible? It's normal." Jongmagu smiled and then said, "By the way, sister, young Master Su and sister-in-law Xian are going to have hot pot tonight, why don't you go with them, and chat with sister-in-law Xian? By the way, maybe the wife of the wife is. I don't care about this, in this case, you can have fun with young Master Su tonight, he 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 he." Jongmagu said seriously, "Sister, you have been controlled by Zhang Yunhai for 2 years. It is easy to become dependent on him. While being abused by him, you don't want to leave him. Now we call this pua. Tch, why are you pretending? You just want to join in the fun." Jongmagu curled his lips and followed closely behind his sister. At this moment, Zhang Qingshui felt ashamed, hesitated for a few seconds, and then said calmly, "Yes, you are right, I have fallen in love with Su Yang, so what?" Su Yang was waiting for Li Feixuan outside the room. After waiting for a long time, Li Feixuan came out of the room. Jongmagu continued, "Also, according to what I know, young Master Su and Li Feiquan have the best relationship. They are engaged, and you and Li Feiquan are best friends. Shut up, stop talking, I don't like young Master Su. Before Zhang Magu finished speaking, Zhang Qingshui quickly interrupted, looking a little nervous. Zhang Qingshui said seriously, an excellent man will naturally have countless suitors, and I am not qualified to have him all to myself. If Li Feiquan knows that you like young Master Su, will it affect your relationship? But, sister, you have to think clearly. Miss Su is very popular. There are so many beauties around her. There are dozens of stunning beauties who like him. There are not even 100 but dozens of beauties. You are under great pressure from competition. Well said, sister, I wish you success. If young Master Su were my brother-in-law, then I would be so awesome. Will I not be allowed to walk sideways on earth in the future? Zhang Qingshui gritted his teeth and said, what nonsense are you talking about? That old guy is so mean. How can I like him? Is your brain broken? Hearing this, Zhang Magu smiled softly and said, this is my sister. She clearly loves and hates her. No one has any problem, let alone you. If I were a woman, I would also like young Master Su. As for concubine Xian, hey, it's really embarrassing. Let me try to find out more. I know this. Zhang Qingshui said sternly, if concubine Xian minds, I will not think about this matter anymore. Even if I am a small child, I, Zhang Qingshui, will never be sneaky. Ha ha ha. Shut up, you're talking nonsense again. One is Zhang Yunhai and the other is young Master Su. Zhang Qingshui gave his brother a neutral look, then walked out of the room. I didn't say that you like young Master Su. What I want to say is that the person you like should be Zhang Yunhai. Zhang Magu said the unfinished words. Sister, I thought you were pooed by that old guy Zhang Yunhai, so you fell in love with him. That's not the best. I don't want to call an old dog who is hundreds of years old brother-in-law. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 770. Honey, it's already dark. What are you doing? Why are you so slow? Su Yang said with a smile. I'm sleeping. Li Feiquan responded casually, but he was actually practicing. All right. Su Yang naturally knew what his wife was doing. He had felt the Genkai fluctuation in the room before, but he didn't expose his wife. He smiled softly and said, it's getting late. Let's go eat hot pot. I can't wait. When I think of it, the spicy hot pot in that store makes my mouth water. Okay. Li Feiquan nodded and said, but, Su Yang, you can just eat the spicy hot pot. Today I want to eat the bottom of the clear soup pot. Why, this is not in line with your habits. Don't you like spicy food the most? Su Yang asked doubtfully. My relatives are here today and I can't eat spicy food, otherwise my stomach will feel uncomfortable, Li Feiquan explained, her face slightly red. Fuck. When Su Yang learned the reason, he felt extremely uncomfortable. He gritted his teeth and said, wife, does your relative have any objections to me, Mr. Su? I finally came back, and it came with me. It makes me mad. Puff. Li Feiquan couldn't help laughing. Yes, I just have a problem with you, what do you think? Humph, I'm going to fight bloody battles tonight and touch your relatives to see if they dare to cause trouble to me, Su Yang said fiercely. Bah, Su Yang, what are you talking about? How shameless! Li Feiquan rolled her eyes at Su Yang shyly. Hey, you're kidding me, it's okay, it's just a few days, I can bear it. Su Yang smiled, naturally it was impossible to really do that, so he said, let's go and eat clear soup hot pot. Li Feiquan nodded, and then the two of them left the Su family manor together. But at this time, Zhang Qingshui and Zhang Magu walked over. Master Su. Young Master Su. The two of them greeted Su Yang one after another, and were full of respect for Su Yang. Su Yang nodded lightly, then turned his gaze to Zhang Magu and asked doubtfully, "Hey, brother Magu, what's going on with your face? Who hit you?" Zhang Magu showed an embarrassed smile and raised his hand to point to Zhang Qingshui next to him. "He has a mean mouth and said things he shouldn't have said," Zhang Qingshui said truthfully. "Haha, I understand, I understand." Su Yang showed a look of understanding. With the power of his soul, he could naturally sense everything that happened in that room. It's just that Su Yang didn't let go of his spiritual consciousness. After all, it would be too tasteless for the brother and sister to eavesdrop on each other. However, although Su Yang didn't hear it, he probably guessed it. When he came out before, Zhang Magu suspected that he had done something shady with Zhang Qingshui in the room. It is estimated that after he left, Zhang Magu mentioned it again, and was beaten by his sister Zhang Qingshui. He really deserved it? Fei Xian. At this time, Zhang Qingshui walked up to Li Feixuan, took Li Feixuan's arm, and smiled softly, "I heard that you are going to eat hot pot, can you take me with you?" "No problem at all." Concubine Li smiled, and then asked with concern, "Gag, how are you doing now? Have you recovered your memory?" "Well, I have recovered, and now my martial arts realm has become very strong." Zhang Qingshui glanced at Su Yang without any trace, and said with a smile, "All this is thanks to young Master Su. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have recovered so quickly. You and I are good best friends, and your brother is also his good brother. This is what he should do. You don't believe that I'm very powerful, do you?" "Haha, Su Yang, wait, I'll find an opportunity for you to see how powerful this martial lord is." Okay, wife, you are also at the peak of martial arts, right? You are the most beautiful and invincible. Is young Master Su any better than Tianzong?" Li Feixuan nodded, actually feeling very proud. Only when you truly love someone and truly care about a woman can you indulge that person and act with her, right? Li Feixuan was extremely surprised. She didn't expect that Zhang Qingshui was in the same realm as herself. "What I want to say is that I had misunderstandings and prejudices against Master Su before." Su Yang smiled heartily and said, "If that's the case, I won't be polite. If I encounter someone I can't beat, I'll contact you as soon as possible." "Su Yang, actually I am also very powerful. I am already an ancient warrior. Don't worry, I will protect you at this moment." Li Feixuan pretended that she was very powerful. "Feixuan, did you make any mistake with Mr. Su?" Zhang Qingshui was about to explain. Zhang Qingshui was stunned and couldn't understand why Li Feixuan had such a perception. The peak of martial arts. After receiving the message, Zhang Qingshui nodded secretly and agreed. "Then I have to thank you, Mr. Su. You are of low strength, and if you encounter trouble in the future, remember to call me for help." "I will definitely not stand idly by," Zhang Qingshui said with a smile. Su Yang then sent a message, "Anyway, I have nothing to do, so I will play with her. I hope Sister Qingshui will keep the secret for me and don't tell her yet." Su Yang took over the conversation and said, "Actually, the reason why you have become so strong is entirely because of your own extraordinary talent. In addition, the resources Zhang Yunhai has spent in the past 2 years have little to do with me." Concubine Li smiled and then asked curiously, "Gag, you said you have become very powerful. What realm have you reached?" "Haha." From this, Zhang Qingshui could see how much Su Yang loved Li Feixuan. "The peak of martial arts," Zhang Qingshui said directly without hiding anything. Su Yang also hurriedly sent a message through his soul and said, "Sister Qingshui, Fei Xian doesn't know my strength yet." Li Feixuan wondered, Su Yang himself is only a little better than Tianzong, how can you advance to the peak of martial master? At the foot of Jufeng Mountain, Mr. Su can kill even the peak nascent soul. He is comparable to the peak of the martial saint. Not only is he slightly better than the Tianzong. After this conversation, Li Feixuan finally understood that it was just a coincidence. What? This time when I returned to Jiangbei, she hid her strength. She probably wanted to find a chance to shock me. Su Yang pretended to be perfunctory, and then urged, "Let's go eat hot pot quickly. If we get there late, it will be closed." Well, it was only with the help of young Master Su that I digested the energy in my body, and then I had the opportunity to reach the peak of martial lord. Zhang Qingshui said with a smile. Sister Qingshui, thank you very much. Zhang Qingshui reacted quickly and smiled softly. Now I know that Mr. Su is a good person. Gag, what did you want to say just now? At this time, Li Feixuan asked curiously. Half a year ago, through the gift of the ancient martial arts transformation, I allowed her to reach the realm of martial lord. She doesn't know that I did all this. But at this time, Zhang Magu tugged at her clothes. Yeah. At the same time,